There's been a long-standing legal debate in Canada going back 2 decades over how much universities are covered by the Charter and how much they aren't. Are they a government or aren't they? In their academic stuff, of course, the Charter doesn't cover that. That's their function as a school. But they're also created by government. They're public institutions. So where does that line change and their activities start to be governed by the Charter? That's what this case was really about.
Free speech under attack on Canadian universities, but what else is new? The BC Supreme Court says universities don't have to follow the Charter of Rights and Freedoms when it comes to clubs, even though they are government institutions paid for by our tax dollars. Joining me now to set up the case and the decision is our friend Ada Slavinsky. Hey, Ada, great to see you. Can you give our viewers a refresher? What university, what was the case at hand, and what happened at court?
Right, Ezra. So this is to do with a club at the University of Victoria. It's called Youth Protecting Youth, a pro-life club which is vocally against abortion. Now, this club over several years has been holding demonstrations on the university campus, and there's a history of bad blood between them and the University Students' Society, which is very vocally pro-choice. That's listed in their guidelines, in their kind of mantra, that they support freedom to choose. So there's been some controversies and debate there. The university pro-choice group has often been holding counter demonstrations whenever Youth Protecting Youth was out with their signs, but that often wasn't enough for some students because smoke bombs and stink bombs were thrown at the Youth Protecting Youth table. So the pro-life group was the victim of attacks. And so this went on over several years. One of their poster campaigns elicited a letter response where some students wrote a letter saying that this kind of speech has no place on a university campus. Pro-life speech has no place on a university campus where their values are diversity and inclusion, which is just completely ridiculous that they would think that way. And then, so what happened was the university administration, seeing this combative nature between the two groups, decided that they'd rather not have this on their campus and started revoking some of the privileges of Youth Protecting Youth to book outdoor space. So one event of theirs that they hold is called a choice chain. It's where they hold photos of fetuses in the womb and then aborted fetuses. And their right to hold that event on university space was revoked very shortly before the event. And the club decided to not listen to those restrictions and go ahead with the event anyway. And they did so, and that's when the university administration held an emergency meeting saying that they need to put a stop to this and actually banned for the course of a year Youth Protecting Youth from holding any events on university property. And so Cameron Cote, who we're going to hear from in a minute, was the president of the club at the time, and he actually decided to take the university to court along with the BC Civil Liberties Association and ask for a statement that the charter rights here, his charter rights, were violated and that the charter does in fact apply on university campuses. Now, Chief Justice Hinkson in his decision yesterday actually stated that the charter does not apply on university campuses in all circumstances, specifically when it comes to the booking of space on campus. So he's saying that the universities effectively have the right to ban whatever kind of speech they want. So that's really a shocking, changing decision, and the BC Civil Liberties could decide to appeal.
Incredible. Ada, thanks for that update. Well, you're right. Cameron Cote is on the line with us right now from Calgary. Cameron, welcome to the show. Now, you're already graduated. I mean, the pace of these things moves so slow. You've moved on from the university. Are you surprised that the court in British Columbia has said the charter that liberals love, that probably everyone on university quotes without even reading it, that actually it does not apply, and that you have no rights, no religious rights, no freedom of speech rights, no freedom of association rights, that student bullies can ban you for whatever reason they want, even though they get tax dollars, and the charter won't stop them. Are you surprised by this?
I'll be honest, I am incredibly surprised by this. Not only surprised, but also disappointed, because effectively, the way I see it, what the BC Supreme Court has done is said that the University of Victoria is fine to just pick and choose who's allowed to say what on campus in the common spaces. And if they want to cancel somebody's event the night before, the moment before, then they're allowed to do so. They're not held accountable by our charter, which protects our right to freedom of speech. They can basically do whatever they want and not be held accountable for it.
Cameron, I got to tell you, I've seen enough judicial politics in my life to ask this question. If the roles were reversed, if this was a pro-life students council that banned a pro-abortion students club, and I don't think that's in the nature of most pro-lifers, but let's say it just happened in this hypothetical situation, and the pro-choice club, the pro-abortion club went to court, I am skeptical that the court would have said, oh yeah, you can ban pro-choice clubs. And even if the court would have said that, I think the media firestorm would be fierce. Do you think that the law is increasingly tilted against pro-lifers and Christians? And I say this in the context of Trinity Western University Law School being given the bum's rush. What do you think?
I do certainly think that pro-life clubs and people who hold pro-life views or Christian views for that matter as well are significantly being discriminated against. You look at not only Trinity, but the hassle that Trent University has gone through, the hassle that the pro-life club at Kwantlen went through a couple of years ago, University of Calgary. It seems like all across the country, pro-life groups, clubs, whatever they may be, are being discriminated against, and we're not seeing it on the other side of the coin. We're not seeing any pro-choice clubs being discriminated against. We're not seeing any clubs that hold more conventional views, more socially accepted views being discriminated against in any capacity.
And I don't really think there's a lot of judges who would stand up. I have to salute the BC Civil Liberties Association for standing with you. Unlike their federal cousins who are just outright left-wing activists, I salute the BC Civil Liberties Association for supporting everyone's free speech on both sides of this issue. Great to see you, Cameron. Thanks, Ada, for joining us. We'll talk to both of you another day. Hopefully this will be overturned on appeal, but I won't bet on it.